Well. Funny thing happened to the team of destiny over in Detroit there, the Detroit Lions, the Detroit Darlings, the media darlings. Um, 15-2, one seed. Obviously swept us, kicked our ass a couple weeks ago. Um, you know, couldn't be stopped. Injuries, doesn't matter, couldn't be stopped. And boy, did their fans constantly let us know it that they're just so much better, that they're going to win the Super Bowl, that you know you know the Vikings are the Vikings are the fraud team. The 14-3. Obviously, we went one and done. We're frauds, and they're great. What the fuck happened tonight, there, Lions? 45-31. Washington Commanders go into Detroit. Rookie quarterback. You know, team that has been terrible for years. Team that barely won in Tampa last week, and they basically dominated your sorry ass for 4 quarters. Because that was a 14-point game, but it could have been even more lopsided than that. Because there was a fucking bullshit face mask call um, that went Detroit's way. That kept drive alive where they got a touchdown. If they wouldn't have gotten that, and Washington left some points on the out there in the first half and missed a field goal late. I mean, they could have put a 50 burger on these bums easily. You fucking frauds. I thought the Lions were frauds last year. No, that was worse. I mean, how many games they win last year? Like 12, 13 games, whatever. They were so much more fraudulent this year. 15-2, 15-2, and you don't win a playoff game. And I know we were 14-3 and didn't win a playoff game, but you know what? We were not preseason picks by everyone on the fucking planet to go win a Super Bowl. No one had any expectations for the Vikings. We were throwing out Sam Darnold, who in the end showed what he is. You were supposed to win the Super Bowl. You were clear cut favorites, and I don't want to hear any of these bullshit excuses about the goddamn injuries. All this woe is us talk about the fucking injuries. No one has ever cut any other team slack like that on injuries. And God, I can't believe I'm going to praise the Packers. But when the Packers won their last Super Bowl, they had as many guys on the IR as Detroit did, and a lot of the guys that Detroit has. It's not like they have all starters. A lot of them are reserves, but they have a lot of guys out. But give me a break. What explain how having all these guys out on defense caused your fucking overrated stat patter quarterback to throw 3 picks? How how did all the how did the defensive injuries cause your your OC who might be out the door to call a bunch of stupid plays like a fucking trick play with a wide receiver pass, that got intercepted? Like, oh, front bunch of fucking front runners. This front runner team, you know, yeah, they're great when they can just blow some team out, some hapless team or some hapless quarterback like Sam Darnold. You know, you didn't beat anybody this year other than Green Bay, and well, Green Bay was also frauds. All the wins for the 3 playoff teams in the NFC North this year, and none of us won a playoff game, and we all got beat by double digits. But only one of us got beat by double digits in a home game by a rookie quarterback, and I know Jaden Daniels is really freaking good, but still, it's losing home at home, one and done as a 1 seed at 15-2 to a rookie quarterback. Like, we have our own share of embarrassment last week, and so did the Packers, but nothing like this. This is the granddaddy. The Lions were the ultimate frauds in the NFC fraud division, um, and I love it. I absolutely love this. I thought Washington had a shot in this game because you know I certainly wasn't buying that Detroit's defense was actually good. That was just the game, the Week 18 game. That was entirely Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold just being a bum, which he was then in the playoffs as well. It had nothing to do with Detroit's defense being, good. It had nothing to do with Aaron Glenn figuring something out. It was just a quarterback playing like absolute dog shit. And we saw what happened in this game again. Could have easily been a 50-burger. Um, it was wonderful to see. Um, and I love it. And I love the shots of all those Detroit fans just sitting there depressed. It was just beautiful to see, and all and the crowd shot them fucking leaving like early in the fourth quarter. Game wasn't even close to over yet. I wasn't really secure um, until they hit that one third down. I think it was a third down, you know, third down conversion deep shot. Daniels to somebody. I don't really know the Washington players that well, but um, and these fans, most of them who were not fans until about 2 years ago, and then oh, these Lions fans, they get the little taste. They were like kind of the lovable losers, kind of like Vikings fans, you know, kind of embrace the suck. But no, Lions fans changed the last year or two. They became awful. They have become awful. They have become borderline Eagles fans. Some of the shit they were doing a couple weeks ago, harassing and like groping like female Vikings fans who were there and harassing like players' wives and shit, and then all of them doubling down like, "Oh, it didn't happen. If it's not a video, it didn't happen." Okay, sure. They were all lying. Like that's Eagle fan bullshit. Um, like your stupid fan base like sold out their likability. You know, doubled down on just harassing other fans, talking shit, celebrating your players like that piece of shit Kirby Joseph, injuring other teams' players, including some of ours. You know, you became a horrible fan base, one of the worst in sports. And for what? This was your shot. This was your best shot. I mean, last year was a great shot. I mean, I literally did a video at the halftime of that NFC Championship game conceding that the Lions were going to the Super Bowl before they choked it away, and that was great. I mean, that was better than this, but this was really good too. 15-2, the 1 seed, and you don't win a game. It's happened where 1 seed's got lost the first game, but a 15-win team is the 1 seed. It's only happened twice. Both teams in this division, Packers back in 2011, they were going for their repeat. But that team was a lot better than this Lions team. This Lions team was fraudulent. Scored a lot of points, do a lot of razzle-dazzle shit. Blew out a lot of bad teams, and obviously blew out a bad quarterback a couple weeks ago. But Jaden Daniels and company came in there and absolutely dominated your sorry ass. I loved every second of it. This was one of my favorite playoff results in many years. And I love the humble pie that the Lions and their fans deserve after the way they've gotten so full of themselves, players and fans over these last couple of years, and now like this was the best shot. It doesn't mean the Lions are going away. It doesn't mean the Lions are going to be win 4 games next year, but they might lose both coordinators. And I don't think Dan Campbell's a very good coach. I really don't. I think he's kind of goofy, and I think that people give him a break because he's kind of goofy, and he was crying after the game tonight. It hurts. That didn't hurt me. The only thing that hurt me was ribs getting a little sore from laughing so hard. But you're paying a ton for your quarterback who goes out there and throws 3 interceptions, looks terrible. It's like, hey, you got a lot of offensive talent. you'd say, oh, it's just the defensive injuries, and they'll all be back next year, and you're gonna reassert your dominance in the NFC North. Well, maybe you will, maybe you won't. I don't know what Green Bay is going to be doing. We might take a step back just because we're going to be breaking in a new quarterback, but I know what thing. You ain't going to be 15-2. You ain't going to be taking the 1 seed next year. You're not. It's not. It's net. You've blown. The Lions have blown this era of Lions football. You have blown your best shot. Obviously last year, I mean, you have a 17-point lead in an NFC Championship game. That's a pretty good shot to go to the Super Bowl. You blew that shit. You blew the 1 seed. You cocky assholes. You get what you deserve. And it's just like we have to be reminded, of our place in the pecking order of the National Football League. So do you. You're still the Lions. You're always going to be the Lions, and it's not going to change for you. So you better stop acting like jackasses, and get a little self-deprecating humor going with yourselves. All these crap you people spew. And I've got a lot of Lions fans who pop up in my comments from time to time. It's like, it's like you getting a little successful after being terrible for 30 years. Just remember where you stand. I remember where my team stands, and my team still stands better above yours. Maybe not the last 2 years, but you have a couple successful years after decades of failure. Just remember where you came from, because normally, a team pops, a franchise that's downtrodden franchise, they pop up, and people can root for them, even if it is the same division, even if it is a division rival sort of situation. Even when the Lions popped up a couple times and made the playoffs in the Stafford era, I wasn't like, oh fuck the Lions, I don't want them to do anything. I was like, mostly I didn't care, but it wasn't a big deal. But this last couple years, it's been different. So just remember, you go win a Super Bowl, whatever. You can talk all the shit in the world, but you ain't done it yet, and I don't think you're ever gonna do it. Not with this goofy coach and this bunch of cocky ass players who you laid 2 big eggs in two straight years in the playoffs. And obviously we have too. We've laid all the eggs. We've laid enough for some cartons, but and we got some bad fans too from time to time, but nothing like what I've seen with these Lions fans. It's like, and the comeuppance was great last year. I think it's even more deserved this year. Going into 2025, just remember where you are. Just remember where you are. You're still the Lions, just like we're still the Vikings. Like, it's just that, maybe one of these teams will break through and someday win it all. Maybe neither of them will. Maybe in 50 years, when I ain't gonna be here in 50 years, but maybe we'll both still have zeros for next to the number of titles. But this was a very satisfying playoff game. Pretty much makes the playoffs a wash for me now. I probably don't want, I was almost gonna be pro Eagles, because I thought the Eagles would have had a better shot to beat the Lions, but I don't need anybody to beat the Lions now, because Jane Daniels and the commies went in there and beat the snot out of those frauds. 15-2 frauds. So I don't know. Anyone can win the Super Bowl. I'll probably just root for whoever comes out of the AFC, even if it's the Chiefs, because I know a Chiefs three-peat will just incense the Brady fanboys, and that's worth it. And that's worth it all on its own. But who will not be winning the Super Bowl? Well, anybody from the NFC North, obviously. Who had the best playoff record in the NFC North this year? Chicago, because they were 0-0, which is better than 0-1. So good job, Bears, and good job, Bears, not drafting Jaden Daniels, because if you drafted Jaden Daniels, he wouldn't have been able to, go in there and beat the Lions in their first playoff game. So it all works out very nicely here. If we can't win, I want to drag all you motherfuckers down into the pit of misery with me. So good job, Jaden Daniels. Good job, Washington. And Lions. Thanks for the memories. Yeah. Enjoy the off season, frauds.